I am on a tour of the American states, a great return to my adoptive homeland. I have not been here for many years, and as much has changed in my absence.
My name is Pete Riley, and I actually have to admit that I thought of this event. I came up with this idea from just being on a walk and seeing a Lafayette monument, a little marker that said how Lafayette was greeted in the town of Leicester, which is just down the road from here, and started thinking, wouldn't it be cool to do something for the bicentennial?
Oh, my sweet Lafayette, how I'm gonna miss you. You feel so good, Lafayette. Now I've come to greet you. Hello, my friends, I've come back again. I couldn't stay away. I was gone only a day, but I'm coming back.
If you would look behind you, you don't have to, but when you leave, look behind you, you'll see a beautiful building that has been restored. When the man you're going to honor today, he'll be showing up soon, I hope. When he came, it wasn't the Ryder Tavern. By then, the Ryders were out of the picture by a very short time, and it was Wilson's Coffee House.
To arrive here today, at the Ryder Tavern in Charlton, Massachusetts, a place that actually saw the living, breathing Marquis de Lafayette, is a great honor for us. He was here, he ate here, he drank here, he greeted his fellow patriots here, and he was honored here. And we are honored to be here today in his memory.
Although he had last visited these shores in 1784 after the Treaty of Paris was signed, ending the American Revolution, which he had shared the glory of winning on the battlefield. During his 13-month farewell tour, he visited all 24 states where he was celebrated and honored on an almost daily basis. He was called during this trip the nation's guest. So why did the nation's guest engender such a great outpouring of love and admiration during his visit? There were a number of reasons. First, the time was right. It was the era of good feelings. James Monroe's mostly successful presidency. It was a time of great optimism and pride in the successes that the liberated American colonies had achieved. These included the tremendous pride in population growth, along with the growth of manufacturing, agriculture, commerce, the arts and sciences, and the spread of public education.
And everywhere I have gone, I have been welcomed by the townspeople and the Americans who remember and are so grateful and hospitable in acknowledging my service in their revolution for independence.
It started out with me making a boast. I boasted that I had shaken hands with someone who had shaken hands with Geronimo, which I thought was pretty cool. But then a voice came from the front of the crowd, and she said, well, I have been kissed by someone who was kissed by someone who was kissed by Lafayette. Now, the first thing I did was run up to her and say, right here, Rita. So I don't know how many kiss by, but I have been, just so you know. And why was there such a burst of joy? Well, Alan has touched on this. He was a living link, was the most important era of our history at that point, the American Revolution. And so it was like reaching back, talking to someone who knew George Washington very, very well. The towns where he visited were decorated to welcome him with arches, evergreens, flags, and celebratory banners. There were gala balls held where ladies attended in their best finery and wore ribbons or gloves imprinted with Lafayette's face. And this actually led to some humorous moments when Lafayette wasn't too keen to kiss his own face, but that's another story. Now, we don't have any of those here today, but we do have the most important element that made Lafayette's tour such an amazing event, and that is the mobs of people who cheered him wildly. So this is going to be your role, people. We need you to provide the burst of joy. So let us practice just a little bit, okay? When I direct you, I want you to say, hurrah for Lafayette, hurrah for the nation's guest. Let's try it once, okay? Hurrah for Lafayette, hurrah for the nation's guest.
In our struggle for independence, created a bond between the United States and France, which lasts to this day. Twice in the last century, France was beleaguered and America came to her aid, invoking your name. God willing, we will never have a war again like the war that these brave individuals in front of us served in. Many of their comrades lay in graves in France, and many Frenchmen lay in graves in the United States. I'd like you to join us to take a moment to greet different groups similar to the groups that would have met him, some would have met him at that time. The first group would be the Colonial Craftsmen of Colonial Massachusetts.
It is my honor to bring with me a letter from the Grand Master of Masons in Massachusetts, and I'll be honored to read that to you at this time. Dear Brother Lafayette, on behalf of the Masons of Massachusetts, let me welcome you back on the 194th anniversary celebration of your 1824 visit. We recall with pride your return to Boston on June 7th, 1825, where you and most worshipful Brother Abbott participated in laying the cornerstone of the Bunker Hill Monument in Charlestown to commemorate the 50th anniversary of that battle. I hope that you will be free to rededicate the Bunker Hill Monument with my successor on a future anniversary. Let me personally thank you for your service. You have brought much honor to the fraternity and to our country. We salute you and your continued dedication as a brother and a friend. Cordially and fraternally, most worshipful, Paul Fulton Gleason, Grand Master.
General, I'd like to take a minute here to thank you for your service to our great country, the United States of America. Right from the beginning, France was there, and I can tell you 166 years later, in the grand desert of Saudi Arabia, as our units were stationed at Camp Bastille in Rafah, Saudi Arabia, with French Marines, that we were toasting your name 166 years later as we were sharing each other's rations in the desert. On behalf of the veterans of foreign wars in the United States of America, thank you so much for your service to our country.
General, it is grand seeing you on this occasion. It was wonderful that my men and your men, and we salute you for your service to us at Valley Forge. We salute you for your service in the final battle of Yorktown, and of all that your countrymen gave to our American Revolution. And most of all, we thank you for being a citizen of America. God bless you, sir.
Are you worried about the passionate nature of the current elections while you're on tour?
Indeed, the passions on display during these election campaigns that I have witnessed are not quite what the founders may have expected or indeed intended when the Constitution was ratified so many years ago. I have at times felt a bit distraught at how our citizens seem divided against one another when His Excellency General Washington himself warned against the dangers of factions in politics. However, Monsieur, I am confident that the ties which bind all American citizens to their institutions, to their cities, to their very communities and families for whom they have fought and bled and died and sacrificed so much, that the example should be set by our leaders when this election is concluded, that we are still one people and shall remain so, and shall remain united in spite of any election.
Enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Contre nous de la tyrannie, l'étendard sanglant élevé, l'étendard sanglant élevé. Entendez-vous dans les campagnes
mugir ces féroces soldats? Ils viennent jusque dans nos bras, égorger nos fils, nos compagnes. Aux armes, citoyens, formez vos bataillons, marchons, marchons, qu'un sang impur abreuve nos sillons.
La patrie conduit, soutient nos braves vengeurs. Liberté, liberté chérie.